to yet another part, or where we are going to study about the morphology of a flower. So in the previous video we have talked about the flower, in which what is the function of the flower and what are the different types of flower depending upon the arrangement, the types, etc. we have discussed. Now in this we are going to study about the parts of a flower, that is all the four whorls that we have talked about previously. We are going to study about that in this particular video. Let us start with the first, that is, we all know that the flower is held with the help of a stalk which is known as pedicel. So the pedicel or the stalk holds the flower and it leads to the calyx, or we call it as a sepal. So the calyx is a green structure. It is the outermost whorl. So if we talk about the calyx, this is the pedicel, and here the leaf-like structures which are present is known as calyx. So this is the pedicel, and this entire structure is the calyx, and each petal or each division of this calyx is known as sepals. Each of it is sepal. So the sepals together form the calyx. The number of the sepals can vary in a calyx, that it means it can be 5, 4 or 7, depends. So their sepals forms the calyx, and it is the outermost whorl. The most important function of the calyx is to protect the flower during the bud stage. So when we are talking of the flower in a bud stage, the bud is entirely, if we draw like this bud is entirely protected. The calyx will be tightly associated with the bud and protect the entire or the other whorls of the flower. So it protects the flower in the bud stage primarily, and in the later stage when it opens, it also holds or keeps the petals together, protects the ovary because the thalamus is inside the calyx. So over here it protects the ovary as well. It is green in color mostly. So calyx can be divided into two types. One is gamosepalous and the second is polysepalous condition. Gamosepalous is a condition when the sepals are fused. That means the sepals will not be existing as individual, but they will be fused. Example is hibiscus. In the case of hibiscus plant, if we see, the calyx will be closely. This is gamosepalous because here the calyx is fused, whereas in the polysepalous condition the sepals are free. That means they will not be fusing. So this condition is gamosepalous. And if we talk of the polysepalous condition, the sepals will be separate. So this is a polysepalous condition. Gamosepalous and polysepalous condition are very common, and polysepalous is seen in the rose. So if you observe a rose flower very carefully, you will find that the sepals are free. They are just held at one place, but the petals or the sepals are free. Gamosepalous will have the sepals united. Example is hibiscus. So observing these flowers will let us understand better what is meant by gamosepalous and what is polysepalous condition. The next whorl inside the calyx, that is the after the sepals, the corolla is the second whorl, and this second whorl is brightly colored. It is variously colored. We see petals of various types, various shapes, variously colored, and this their shape, size and color is highly variable. The chief reason for them being brightly colored and the size being variable, it is to attract the pollinators, that is chiefly insects. The insects help in bringing about the pollination. So the main function of the corolla is to attract the insects or the pollinators, and therefore they are brightly colored with various shapes, size, etc. Now, as similar to that of the calyx, the corolla is made up of petals. So the petals over here are forming the corolla, and that is the second word. Same we are observing in this case also, the gamopetalous condition, when the petals are united and fused, and other condition in that is polypetalous, that is in which the petals are free. So gamopetalous condition is seen in flowers where they will be forming a nearly tubular structure. So many a times you must have seen a flower forming a tubular structure, and this is the calyx, and this structure over here is the corolla. So the flower is funnel shape or bell shaped flower, and the corolla is fused in the case of gamocephalus. Whereas in the case of polypetalous, that is example is rose, the rose flower has petals which are not joined with each other. So the corolla is an important part, or the petals are important part where they have the main function of attracting the pollinators to bring about the pollination. Now calyx and corolla, if you see over here, are accessory reproductive organs because they are not playing a major role in the formation or the reproduction process. Over here they are just, in the case of calyx, it is holding the petals together, and it is also protecting the various other reproductive parts of a plant, whether it is bisexual or unisexual. Whereas corolla is only responsible for attracting the pollinators, and also it may be joined or free to bring about successive pollination. Now this corolla and the calyx, that is the sepals and the petals, both can be arranged in different patterns, and the mode of arrangement of sepals and petals is known as aestivation. So aestivation is the arrangement of the sepals and petals in a particular manner, especially when we are talking of the bud condition, and these are of 4 types. The first is the valvate type, the second is the twisted type, the third is imbricate, and the fourth is vexillary type. Aestivation, as I said, is the arrangement of the sepals and petals, both, or sepals or petals, in a particular manner. Now, if the petals or sepals are arranged in such a way that they just touch the margin. If you observe this, these are the petals we have drawn over here, petals or sepals. Now their margin is only touching over each other. There is no other way of arrangement. That means neither one side is going inside or outside. It is just simply the margins are held like this, and this is the area we are talking of, this area. So you can see over here the margins are only touching each other. Such a type of arrangement is known as valvate type. Now this arrangement is very common in the case of hibiscus sepals. Valvate arrangement you can see in the hibiscus sepals. Let us come to the next one. Here the arrangement is slightly different. The sepal or petal, that one side remains outside where the other side goes in. It moves in a clockwise direction. So the other petal will have the other side outside and the other end inside, same as this one. Same way over here, same way over here, so same way over here. So it's kind of a twisted arrangement. Therefore, the name twisted. And the hibiscus petals will show the twisted arrangement. So if we observe carefully, the valvate arrangement is shown by the hibiscus flower sepals, and the twisted arrangement is shown by the petals of the hibiscus flower. Imbricate is another type of the arrangement. Here there is no fixed particular direction, and the sepals and the petals may be arranged, or one edge may go over here like this. This entire sepal or petal is inside, whereas in the second it is one side is inside, the third petal is outside completely, fourth one side in, one side out, similar like this. So this is an imbricate type of arrangement. We see these type of arrangement in different kinds of flowers. The fourth type is the vexillary type. In the vexillary type of the arrangement of the flower, there is one single large petal, or mostly we are talking of the petal over here, the standard, which is known as. Inside it are two another petals that are known as wings, and the third inner one which is showing, it is known as the keel. We find this type of aestivation in the pea plant or the pea flower. So here we observe that the petals and sepals can be arranged in four different types majorly. Calyx and corolla are very important, and they will be forming the accessory reproductive organs as they are assisting in the process of reproduction. The calyx may be gamosepalous condition or may be showing the polysepalous condition. The corolla may also show the gamopetalous condition or the polypetalous condition. And it may show the both may show different kinds of aestivation over here, whether it may be valvate, twisted, imbricate or vexillary. In the next part of the video, we will be talking about the reproductive parts of a flower, that is the androecium and the gynoecium. So this complete understanding of the structure of the flower will help you to understand the actual process of reproduction and the formation of seeds.